The devil himself said, I'm going to exchange some dollars for your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
She knows that Jesus watches over her. He helped save her life. In response, Jeffrey Epstein says, you should dress up as him when you see her.
So we see this darkness. It involves leaders in academia, in science, in industry, in politics.
Another just insane detail that has emerged here is that Lawrence Krauss was trying to get Epstein and Rogan to meet together.
Yeah, I'm in the files for not going. Jeffrey Epstein was trying to meet with me.
It's hard to come up with a language to express what we're observing in the world other than the language of theology.
I hadn't seen any real evidence for it until these files. And now I'm like, oh, this is demonic. This is clearly demonic.
To people who have been on the train of world's run by satanic files and like that, well, now you're seeing some of it.
The question is not good or bad. The question is what's natural.
There's definitely a parental advisory on this video. If you're watching this with your children, I do not recommend that you do that. I want to warn you because I know a lot of the content on this channel is family friendly. This video will not be family friendly.
Weinstein's decades-long chain of alleged harassment was a dirty Hollywood secret.
I can tell you that the number one problem in Hollywood was and is and always will be pedophilia.
Nobody talks about pedophilia.
It's the big secret.
And it's widespread?
Oh, yeah. I was surrounded by them. They would pull away the better-looking younger kids and keep them for their own after-party, and it would turn into a pool party. And then they'd have their rules. Oh, there's no swimsuits on in the pool.
In a new interview with the Sunday Times, the former child star alleges that pedophilia has been a real issue in Hollywood. He tells the publication, quote, there are a lot of vipers in this industry, people who only have their own interests in mind. What bums me about these situations is that the victims can't speak as loudly as the people in power.
And it's not just Hollywood, it's also the music industry. You've got people like P. Diddy, who obviously everyone now knows about that.
Jay-Z, Diddy, and others. Primarily Jay-Z. Jay-Z is my top one. I was asked why don't I like Jay-Z, and on my list was the fact that when I was 16, I heard him put out a song, or I guess the song was already out, I don't know, saying 666, unalive Jesus, like what? After that, he called himself old, a disrespect to Jehovah. He then opened a museum about himself, mimicking the pages of the Bible, then created a movie disrespecting Jesus again, like he's like Jesus' biggest hater. Okay, he's been demonic since forever. Made a movie about Jesus being a magician and not really the Son of God. And I can go on.
It's all a joke. We're just having fun. It's art. It's comedy. It's entertainment. There's nothing to see here.
Jay-Z was also implicated after being present during an abduction of a victim, where the victim was assaulted by Harvey Weinstein while Jay-Z watched it happen. The account says later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, Jay-Z, while Weinstein had inserted his fingers into the victim. After this point in the account, the document describes the individual regaining consciousness in a room with multiple high-profile figures present.
I was 14 and he put that song out about unaliving Jesus, like he's been demonic.
I mean, Jay-Z even created merch that says, do what thou wilt across the chest, which references Aleister Crowley. So it's not that hidden. You also have people like Cat Williams, who was ringing the bell about this over a year ago.
There are spiritual things going on in the world. There are things that are bigger than just coincidence, and a ritual is something that you do over and over and over again a certain way.
And then more recently, you have really weird instances like this one where Roseanne Barr is talking to Tucker Carlson, of all people, and she says this.
And they're just trying to protect themselves, because when that list comes out and all the other stuff is declassed, it's going to be like worse than the emperor naked. It's going to be the emperor went to Epstein Island and ate people. And they do that. Babies, that is not... It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
It's not just the dogs and the cats. They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood. They do, Tucker. Stop staring at me like that.
You're freaking me out, man.
Because you spent your life in the entertainment business, so I think you have some authority on this.
Please wake up, even those who are pretending to be asleep, with the irrefutable truth of what the worst people on this planet are really up to. They are really up to that.
And listen to their response to this at the time.
Bro, take your medicine. Look, I don't know how many of you guys have experience with this, but it's a very, very common thing. Somebody who has a severe psychological issue, like severe bipolar disorder or paranoid schizophrenia, one of the really bad ones, usually they really hate taking their medicine because they say it takes away the thing that makes them feel special.
But now listen to some of the things that are being said post this most recent Epstein files drop, and listen to how the conversation, the tone, the openness, and really everything is changing right now in culture as it comes to this particular topic.
If there was ever a time where people could step back and say, you know, even some of the people who didn't have any real evidence to point to, but who were making what we would have termed crazy claims, even 2 years ago, but let alone 9-10 years ago. Even if they didn't have real evidence and it was just like a great guess, I don't care. I have to look at them and I have to say, hey, if I shut down X, Y, or Z, I'm just, you know, there's a laundry list here, so I'd be listening to them all day. If I shut down this, or that in the past, I can't even say yet that you're right, but now I can't say you're wrong. So my apologies. Seriously. Like, a lot of people out there, especially those of you listening who are extremely, if you view yourself as like a level-headed, you know, kind of let's just see what the facts are here person, like, you gotta give that to people who have been on the train of, like, you know, world's run by satanic pedophiles and like that. Like, well, now you're seeing some of it. Now you're seeing that this, like, supra government involves people who may or may not be into those kinds of things. Emphasis on may. Emphasis on are, actually.
Now, there's other guys like Nick Kaswani, Blair White, and a ton of other YouTubers going into the details of the files and showing all of what has now come out. I'm not going to go beyond a certain line in this video because some of it is just too dark and too graphic, but I do want to give some sampling of the kind of activity that we're talking about in order to make the point of this video clear.
We have this woman who sends a photo of her baby to Epstein and says, your generosity has no limits, after receiving an unbelievable sum in her bank account, and that she's never seen such a number in her bank account. Harvard professor Martin Nowick emailed Ghislaine in 2002 to thank her for her hospitality, and out of nowhere said, I'm so happy I didn't kill anybody, referring to their visit. I'm glad you didn't either, but why was that ever on the table, right?
The first shocking piece of evidence is the name of Epstein's bank account, which goes by the name Baal, the demon that the Bible mentions that demanded human sacrifice. The document states, please wire $11,438 from the above account to Baal, name Wachovia Bank, N.A. A very weird title to call your bank account, but given the fact that these are child monsters and children were sacrificed to this demon, it makes sense. The next document shows that Epstein was receiving torture videos from a redacted contact. Where are you? Are you okay? I loved the torture video. Just in that document alone raises so many concerning questions. Prince Andrew also tortured a victim and proceeded to have the victim unalive right after, with even photo evidence of the night that it happened. The document says, back in the 90s, Ghislaine Maxwell recruited a girl for a modeling career. Instead of modeling, she was sold as a slave for sex and torture. Prince Andrew was an accessory to her death as he her and me to force her murder. That's just absolutely disgusting.
Nicki Minaj posted, just as the Epstein files were being released, with this tweet, your favorite artists have been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate them and kill them as a form of a blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when their master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood, however the jig is up. People love to disregard this stuff. I think part of it is it's just too painful to hear. And then, of course, if you're an atheist or agnostic, you don't really have a lens to see this from. If you're a Christian who really knows your Bible, you know this is all biblical, this is all laid out.
Joe Rogan, the most popular podcast in the world, has had on multiple guests over the past several weeks filling out details around this same subject matter.
Yeah, there's all sorts.
Did you see the thing in the Epstein files?
Oh, yeah. Like
Those Epstein files. In fact, I can't believe that, like, everybody just kind of like, oh, okay, and they're moving on with their lives.
Well, I think
your
people
normal
are
lives.
waiting for a condensed version that lays out all the facts. It's the people that are, like, really interested in reading all the emails.
I think the Luciferians cast a spell on the world.
And,
For real?
Oh, absolutely. It's just like how vampires can't go into a house unless they're invited. They tell you, what's going on ahead of time. It's predictive programming. And once you say it out loud and you put it out there and make fun of it and do a little skit like Stephen Colbert did a little skit on his show where, oh, here's a baby. I'm going to take this baby and I'm going to give it to Moloch. And he goes into like a cloudy red, furnace and hands the baby over. And the baby's going to be fine. And they make a joke about it and the audience laughs. Okay, we're all now conditioned to it. And in fact, mundus vult decipi, ergo decipiatur. It's a long-known concept. And so in Latin, mundus...
Will Smith grabbed his son's face and kissed him on the mouth. On camera, Jaden didn't lean in. The internet never forgot it. Now Jaden's been talking. Not in headlines, not on press tours, in fragments. And every piece points back to one man his father trusted for 40 years. Let's get into it. The friend who knew too much. Let's start where this whole thing cracked open. Not with Jaden. Not with Jada, with a man named Bilal Salam, better known online as Brother Bilal. This guy says he was Will Smith's best friend for nearly 40 years.
Cut wasteful spending. Comparing this to headlines from the left, which highlight Elon's overreach of power, shows you how reporting bias can shape
all the way through to Hollywood. He was mentioned in Will's 2021 memoir. He was photographed in the book. He worked on projects with Will behind the scenes. He was, by his own account, the guy who knew where every skeleton was buried. And then, around 2021, the Smiths wanted him to sign an NDA. Bilal refused, and that's when things got ugly. According to Bilal, the fallout started at Will's 50.
And I'm going to give it to Moloch. And he goes into like a cloudy red, furnace and hands the baby over. And the baby's going to be fine. And they make a joke about it and the audience laughs. Okay, we're all now conditioned to it. And in fact, mundus vult decipi, ergo decipiatur.